The military leaders of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have signed on yesterday, a mutual defense pact on ministerial delegation from the three Sahel countries, announcing it from the capital of Mali, Bamako. Hello, I am Mahlet Ayele, your host at Connect Africa, bringing you the latest from Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, following this revolutionary journey of these countries. Now, let's go and see what exactly this military pact is consisting, although there's no release of the English version of the military pact. We try to look at some of the things that has been shared by different media outlets, highlighting the major things from it. Now, some of the things that are mentioned in this military pact are first of all, the pact, this military agreement is known as the Alliance of the Sahel States, because there are 5 Sahel states: Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and then you add Mauritania, and there is one other country to it. So it's signed on Saturday. It binds the signatories, meaning these 3 countries, to assist one another, including militarily, in the event of an attack on any one of them. I mean, although they have signed this military agreement now, you remember that when ECOWAS threatened Niger to intervene militarily, they have already stood by Niger, and they said an attack on Niger will be an attack on us. Either maybe they might have been preparing it initially, and it's just signed now, or they are living to that standard of Pan-Africanism. That's what it means, and it just came to an agreement now. Now we go assess and see what are the other again the highlights in this pact. So this was announced, you have to know, by the president of Mali, Colonel Assimi Goïta, which I'll show you in a minute. He was the one who announced it on his X, now formerly known as a Twitter platform, right? Now it's called X. So it reads as this: I have today signed with the heads of states of Burkina Faso and Niger the liptako-gourma charter, establishing the Alliance of Sahel States with the aim of establishing a collective defense and mutual assistance framework. That is what is announced by the president of Mali, Colonel Assimi Goïta. Let me show you exactly what he wrote on his X account, meaning Twitter account. So these are the 3 leaders. You have from my side, from left to right, there is Colonel Assimi Goïta. You see Burkina Faso's General Captain Ibrahim Traoré, and then you see the Niger's General Tihiani, Abdurrahman Tihiani. Now, this is the one, Assimi Goïta, who announced it. This is signing the pact, and this is what he wrote on his Twitter page. So I put it for you in English. I signed today with the heads of states of Burkina Faso and Niger the liptako-gourma charter. Liptako-gourma charter is where the 3 countries meet, where their borders meet, and where many of the military insurgents, the so-called terrorists, are troubling the region. Now, you have to keep in mind that those military insurgents, or the terrorists, the so-called terrorists, increased in number and in their number of attack ever since the foreign power, ever since actually the destruction of Libya. And then, the French troops are anyway there in their former colonies, but the US, and then in the name of the UN peacekeeping mission, those foreign power militaries are settled there, and the terrorist attack has rising up. It spiked actually dramatically after the destruction of Libya. This is exactly what they wanted, to destroy Libya and to be present in the region. Now let's talk about, just to give you a perspective, ever since this revolution or coup happened in Niger, ECOWAS itself, which is consisting of 15 African countries in the western part, is divided in two, meaning those who support Niger and those who does not support Niger and who eventually are threatening the military intervention. So the one in red here, as you see, is the one in defense of Niger. So there is, you see here, Niger itself, Mali, over here, Burkina Faso, over here, Guinea. Guinea also went to and through under a military coup. We thought first it's a revolutionary one, but it's something that we need to see as it evolves, because now the leader is a very good friend of he's trained by the US, and there's a lot of strengthened relationship with the US government. It's not really throwing all those it's not completely anti-imperialism, let's put it that way. But one thing is true, Guinea is not a part of those who are threatening Niger to militarily intervene. So the one in gray are the one who are supporting the military intervention. Of course, you have the leader, Nigeria, led by its president. It doesn't include, by the way, the people. The people are totally different. There is a whole anti-imperialism, anti-France sentiment in the whole region and continentally in Africa. What the Niger situation did is actually it awakened the African people, and it has divided leaders-wise, the heads of states-wise, it has divided the region. But in terms of people, the people of Nigeria, the people of Benin, the people in Ghana, the people in Cote d'Ivoire, the people in Senegal, the people in Chad, the people in all this region are in support of Niger. That you really need to bear in your mind. We really have to be careful when we speak about heads of state. We cannot just hastily generalize it in terms of the country, which consists of the people. So it's actually this logic, this theory works also in other countries. People are always different. I mean, there are people who are made in their, who they have successfully made in their own education system, but these African people are against their own heads of states, and they each and every one of them have warned the elders, they have warned their heads of states that the military intervention is against our own people, because some of the tribes, for example, the Fulani tribe, lives across this region. It's not only confined in Mali or something. You can see a bit of Tuareg people here and there. Okay, and Nigeria also, the Dimbi people share people with Niger. So the elders, and they are doing a lot of informal economy trade between those countries. It allows movement of people. Now the daily life also have been affected. They are totally against it. I really took time for you to bear in mind, and this is just a border that tells you also it's a colonial border. It's not that the people are divided, but in terms of heads of states, of course, as you can see, those in red are the one in defense of Niger, including Niger itself, and the one in gray are the one in gray are supporting the military intervention. Or there are also some who are quiet. For example, Sierra Leone, Liberia. George Weah is Liberia's president. Am I right? Yeah. So he did not like the military intervention, and he has expressed so to the heads of states, to ECOWAS. So this is what actually the military intervention did to ECOWAS itself. It has divided into two, and that's why they are not intervening. Do not get it wrong, because they know their people are against it, and they know they have there will be a consequence. It will bring more destabilization to the region, which they don't want. And it might be the overthrow of their own heads of states, those who are supporting the intervention. Now, let's talk about this military pact is really symbolical and more powerful in meaning that because this Western African states, 14 of them have signed a military pact, which is part of the French colonial tax, which enforces them by paper. They are independent, but practically they are not really independent. Many of their things is really subjected to France, controlling their natural resources, controlling really the territories, the trade, the import, the export, their money, controlling the army, training the army, for France to act as it wants, even their natural resources is not, they are not free to choose buyer unless France says so. France is always first, the others are secondary. The price is set by France. Their national reserve is, you really, I mean, if you're not familiar, you really have to go and read what this colonial tax is about. Let me just read you some of it, especially that talks about the military pact. Okay, just allow me. I'm gonna share some things with you. I'm going to read some of the military pact, and it will really shock you. Now, number 5, there are 11 agreements. So number 5 and 6 are on a military pact. Now, these countries, both Mali and Burkina Faso, have cut their military pact with France. They say they are not anymore abided by it. And Niger has also said, actually, it was supposed to be renewed every year in the beginning of this month, September. So Niger has not renewed its, was it on September or something, but it didn't renew it. But of course, France has refused to leave the country. The troops are still there. But Mali and Burkina Faso are successful. They have kicked out of the military from their country. Now, number 5, the colonial tax. The title is Exclusive Right to Supply Military Equipment and Train the country military officers. What does this mean? So this means through a sophisticated scheme of scholarships, grants, and defense agreements attached to the colonial pact, the Africans, meaning those subject to France, should send their senior military officers for training in France or French-run training facilities. Also, further, it says France has trained now what you have to know, hundreds or even thousands of traitors and nourish them. They are dormant when they are not needed and activated when needed for a coup and any other purpose. Meaning there are those militaries that France is training which are in the government, which is part of the national army. But also there are militaries who are just trained, who are not part of the national army of those African countries, but France just puts them aside, and when needed, when the government of that African country become against France, they will just send them to do a coup, and that coup is actually a hijacked coup that gonna, whoever takes power, it's going to run according to France. It will continue being subjected to France. See the one that happened with Gabon. Right? It's something the same. It's same old same. Now, number 6, the other military pact that France enforced to sign this country, that the name of the agreement it's called Right for France to pre-deploy troops and intervene militarily in the country to defend its interests. It cannot be more clearer than this. Did you really hear that? It gives 100% authority to France to be in these countries. Those of you who are wondering why France is there, why the government, they are abide by that rule. Why they are not cutting that tie should be the question. Otherwise, they are abided by this pact that they have signed when they got this their so-called independence. Let me just go and read it for you. Now, this will enforce them, of course, under something called defense agreements attached to the colonial pact. France had the legal right to intervene militarily in the African countries and also to station troops permanently, not temporarily, permanently in base and military facilities in those countries run entirely by the French. There, they can be in Niger, but it's entirely running their own intelligence and everything run completely by the French government. Now, these are the things, the condition these countries are living in. This is what they are fighting, and I just read you two of them that relates with military. There are 9 others that force them in terms of finance, in terms of language, in terms of education system, and everything. This is what they are abided, which actually, if they withdraw, I mean, the whole country could collapse. It's a choice of whether, you collapse, you sacrifice a generation and you get your freedom, or something else. Of course, there will be a bloodshed. France will fight this. They have been withdrawn from Mali and Burkina Faso. They were not fighting it that much because Niger, under Mohamed Bazoum, embraced those military, 1,500 of them on average, and they were doing what they wanted to do from Niger. So they were not really making so much noise as Omar Bongo said, Ali Bongo said, noise. They were not making so much noise in that case. But now in Niger, this will be the last thing. So they are making so much, Macron is making so much noise, they don't want to leave. They're really fighting that last battle. And it will not be easy, really. These countries have to be supported. But as you can see, our African Union is quite, even ECOWAS is divided. Even individual heads of states or other regional blocs from the south, from the east, or whatever, from central, are not supporting them. Also, we have seen SADC. It was not published, but the SADC region is the SADC in the northern part, actually, of the continent is the one who objected the military intervention, and that's why AU did not approve it. You haven't seen any joint statement made by the Peace and Security of the African Union because those regions are subject. But where is the Eastern African countries? Where is the Central African countries? Okay, so they're just quite. This is the situation. That's what Niger and those 3 countries, Mali and Burkina Faso, are dealing with. So it's a very, in that perspective, it's a very symbolic one for them to come and sign this military agreement, which will enable them to fight that terrorism funded by the West, by the way, is funded by the West. They can fight terrorism together, and then they can fight for any foreign power that's gonna invade or intervene in their country. Okay, now that they have this legal background, mutual defense agreement amongst them. Now, let's see if there's any other thing that needs to be highlighted in this agreement, or just to give you. Now, this alliance will be, of course, it says further, a combination of military and economic efforts between the 3 countries. So the defense minister of Mali have said, this Minister Abdoulaye Diop, and he further said, our priority is to fight against terrorism in the 3 countries. And of course, we have already heard it. Any foreign intervention, that's something also they will fight. Now, the armed rebellion in Sahel region, which I forgot before, there are 5 countries. It was Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Chad, and Mauritania. These are the 5 Sahel countries in which the West is telling you that there is a terrorist group called Al Qaeda and ISIS, which exponentially grow in its attack and in its presence, these terrorist groups, after the destruction of Libya. Now, the invasion of Niger, or any military intervention in Niger, is nothing but similar. It's just another invasion by France and the US, which in the collective West, the whole NATO, but led by France and US in Libya. It's just another version of it. It's not. There's no another name for it. Now, what again, another thing, what this military intervention will only be to provide that the African cannot further to die in what is effectively just another, it's US or French invasion of a struggling so-called third world country. It's just marked as intervention, in the name of intervention, by as the Western African calls it, and the African neighbors, to defend so-called democracy in the region. But that's all a lie. That's the pretense of it. Well, so that was it as far as this the Sahel Alliance, or a military pact, military defense agreement of these 3 countries of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, which was signed yesterday. So it's a very symbolic one, given that their more than a decade's military agreement being subjected to their former colonial power, to France. Now they are throwing out that, and then they are bringing, they are telling us in their statement indirectly, no, what we need is to look at inward. We have to unite our own power. We have to create our own unity, because there is a power in unity. When they divide them, there's a problem. That's exactly how they want you to be, the imperialists. But now they are defying that, and this will not be, trust me, this will not be taken lightly by France or any other foreign power. Well, Niger has not cut completely with foreign powers in its territory. While it is fighting France, it has kept the Americans. Hopefully, whatever strategy they are following, it's something that needs to be watched closely, and we will see. But on the other hand, Mali and Burkina Faso have completely kicked out both France and the UN mission in the region. Niger is something still they have to see, because you cannot. It's also hard from their part, because the military is there, and what they're gonna do. I mean, these people have no shame. Also, they are asking the pretense of ECOWAS to do it, and for them to back it. If ECOWAS is not doing it, they will intervene. They will do it. They have done it in a number of other African countries. They have done it outside Africa. They have no shame at all. They will do it. And it's a very sticky situation, very critical. Niger is not fighting also for its right, for its freedom with France. It's fighting economically. It's facing also a lot of sanctions economically. They have to feed their people. When people are, I mean, so far they have been able to mobilize their people, which is good. But when people are hungry, it's something else. That's where also a weakness, where the imperialists or the Westerns will come in. They will tell you, oh, there's humanitarian intervention. Oh, you are accused of in ICC. We're going to sue you. You are doing a genocidal crime, this and that. They come, I mean, we all know the system, how the steps are going. We can predict. We are very familiar in our lifetime about these things, but hopefully this will mean one other milestone for these countries having that military pact, but throwing away and disregarding the one they have signed with their former colonial power. So in that case, again and again, I say it's very symbolic. So yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one. Just keep on tuning, and please subscribe and give it a like and share the video. That way it will help us for us to grow. It's knowledge, it's information, so you're not allowed to just keep it to yourself. So please share it with the people that you know, with your own network. And if you want to help us further, please go in the description section, and you can see our PayPal account, and I will also pin it in the comment section, so you will find it. Your support will mean a lot for our presence here more often than what we are doing now. Thank you, and I give you shout out to everyone. Michael Newman, and it's good to see you. Mikey Simba, who I miss, Lachset Itbar, Osie Ikwam, hello, Osie, Michael Newman. I wish I could read your comment, but I don't want to make it longer. So I will read it. The chats are available, even if this stream is over. Anyone can go to the chat section and will see what it says. Hello, Goitom, Imhotep. Yeah, all of you, really, thank you very much for rooting, and keep on supporting and hit that notification bell so you will be notified. That was it for me. Bye bye for now. I will see you on the next one.